Riding OHVs can enhance your hunting experience when it's done safely and responsibly. You must recognize that operating OHVs involves risk, and accidents do occur. But you can minimize the risk by taking the right steps to protect yourself. First, take an approved OHV safety course. You can find out how to enroll in an OHV safety course in your area by contacting the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation OHV Education Program. Registration information for ATV and motorbike safety courses is available at parksandrecreation.idaho.gov. Each course is free and generally requires only about 4 hours to complete. If you're coming from another state, contact the ATV Safety Institute for an ATV rider course. Call toll-free at 800-887-2887 or go to atvsafety.org. You can find out how to enroll in an off-highway motorcycle safety course by contacting the Motorcycle Safety Foundation at 877-288-7093 or go to dirtbikeschool.com. Go to rohva.org for safety information for ROVs or UTVs, or contact the Recreational Off-Highway Vehicle Association, ROHVA, at 949-255-2560. When you ride an OHV, always wear an approved helmet, eye protection, long-sleeve shirt, full-length pants, gloves, and over-the-ankle boots. Never ride under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Never carry a passenger on a single-rider vehicle. Riders under 16 should always be supervised by an adult, and always remember that OHVs are not toys. Ride an ATV that's the right fit for your size. A rider must be able to straddle the ATV with room between both the rider's seat and the vehicle seat. While seated, the rider must have a slight bend in the knees, while the feet are on the footrests, and have a slight bend at the elbows, while the hands are on the hand grips. The rider must have adequate upper body strength to turn the handlebars full lock in both directions without straining while the vehicle is stopped. Always ride at a safe speed and only on designated routes open to your vehicle type. Besides your safety gear, you should consider taking along the other gear you'll need to deal with changes in the weather, alterations to trails and roads, and emergency situations that may occur. Some of the things you might want to take along are maps, water, food, GPS units, a cell or satellite phone, wet and cold weather gear, extra fuel and oil, tools and tire repair supplies, a first aid kit, sunscreen, and insect repellent. Be sure your OHV is ready for the ride by checking the fuel and oil levels, tire inflation, and all the controls to be sure they're working correctly. Look your vehicle over closely and check for loose parts or fasteners, and be sure to secure any load you plan on carrying. For safety reasons, never carry a loaded weapon on your OHV. Wearing high visibility orange clothing is not required while you're hunting by Idaho law, but is strongly encouraged. You'll be much more visible to other hunters and will be less likely to be mistaken for a game animal or be caught in another hunter's line of fire. It's important to understand that the same rules and regulations that apply to the recreational use of OHVs on public lands apply to the use of OHVs used during the hunt. Hunters using OHVs must obey all federal, state, and local laws, rules, regulations, ordinances, and orders that pertain to vehicle licensing, registration, permitting requirements, and traffic laws. To operate on public lands in Idaho, your ATV or dirt bike must be equipped with the following: a valid Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation OHV registration sticker, a U.S. Forest Service approved spark arrestor, a muffler that complies with Idaho's OHV sound law, which limits sound produced by an OHV to 96 decibels when tested according to the SAE J1287 test procedure. If your ATV or dirt bike is equipped with the stock U.S. Forest Service spark arrestor muffler, you should have no problem passing the sound test. Riders under 18 years of age must wear an approved helmet. IDPR OHV registration stickers can be purchased at county DMV offices and at most OHV dealerships and sporting goods stores. For more information on OHV registration stickers, please visit parksandrecreation.idaho.gov. Registration fees from OHV registration stickers and gas tax dollars from the fuel used by OHVs are used to fund trail maintenance and education programs such as the Idaho Trail Ranger Program, the Idaho Trail Cat Program, the Idaho Mini Excavator Program, and the Idaho OHV Education Program, which includes safety classes, mobile education trailers, and OHV simulators. If you are an out-of-state resident and your state has an OHV registration sticker program recognized by Idaho, a valid sticker from your state will be honored if you display it on your OHV. If your state doesn't have an OHV registration sticker program, you'll need to purchase an Idaho OHV registration sticker. The following requirements must be met in order to ride an OHV on city, county, and highway district roads. A valid restricted vehicle license plate, a valid Idaho OHV registration sticker affixed to restricted vehicle license plate, a valid driver's license, liability insurance or alternative insurance, a helmet if under age 18, a muffler with U.S. Forest Service approved spark arrestor. By the way, the sound output of your muffler must not exceed 96 dBA tested according to the SAE J1287 test procedure. For safe operation on roads, the following equipment is recommended: a brake light, headlight and tail light, horn, and mirror. Non-residents can purchase a specialty restricted use license plate, which will allow them to operate an OHV on local jurisdiction roads that are open to OHV use. Remember, certain roads may be closed by local jurisdiction, so it's wise to check with local jurisdictions for information on roads open to OHV use. Before you set out on your hunt, you need to know who owns or manages the land where you'll be hunting and operating your OHV. It's your responsibility as a hunter or OHV operator to know where you are and which rules apply on the property where you're traveling and hunting. Rules for OHV operation vary by agency and sometimes from unit to unit. The best way to know the applicable rules is to check with local law enforcement and land management agencies. You can also check with the Idaho Fish and Game Department for specific hunting unit rules and regulations. Share this information with everyone you hunt with. If you have any questions about jurisdiction where you'll be hunting, contact the Idaho Department of Fish and Game at 208-334-3700 or fishandgame.idaho.gov. On nearly all U.S. Forest Service, BLM, and Idaho state lands, OHV use is limited to designated roads and trails. To find out which roads and trails are open to OHV use, or if there are restrictions on certain types of OHVs, or if they have seasonal restrictions, contact the land manager for the area you will be hunting in. It is important to know before you go. Obtain travel maps of the area from the land manager and use them in the field. Learn the rules and regulations for the areas and refer to the map before you follow a route that is not signed as an open route. There are some routes that have been created by repeated illegal use, which are not designated routes and are not legal to ride or drive on. If you aren't sure, don't follow the route. For U.S. Forest Service lands, this information is available on the Motor Vehicle Use Map, also referred to as the MVUM. Other visitor maps may be available that identify OHV and non-motorized routes or trails. These will help you navigate your hunting area and understand which routes are open to OHV use. As a hunter, it's important that you understand which trails are open to motorized use. That way, if you're on or adjacent to a legally open route, you won't be surprised if you encounter an OHV. As a hunter, you need to plan for the type of experience you wish to have. And if that experience is one of solitude, take the time to plan your hunt by avoiding areas open to OHV use. With very few exceptions, U.S. Forest Service lands, BLM lands, and Idaho state lands do not allow retrieval of game with OHVs off designated routes. So think about how you will retrieve your harvested animal before you take the shot. Know where the nearest legal route for your OHV is, and know how you'll get your game to the route if you plan to use an OHV to retrieve it. If the area you are hunting allows the use of OHVs for retrieval of game off designated routes, be courteous to other hunters and do it with the lowest possible impact to the ground. Avoid retrieval of game during prime hunting hours by limiting retrieval to the late morning and early afternoon hours. By the way, it is illegal to shoot from an OHV unless you have a disabled hunting permit issued by the Idaho Department of Fish and Game. And it is illegal to shoot from or across a public roadway or right-of-way. If you are disabled and need to obtain a disabled hunter's permit, go to fishandgame.idaho.gov or contact the Idaho Department of Fish and Game at 208-334-3700 for more information. When setting up camp, remember to check with the Land Management Agency to see if it's okay to use your OHV to travel off the roads and designated trails in order to reach your campsite. Venturing on to posted private land without written permission from the landowner not only endangers everyone's privilege to hunt, it is also trespassing and is illegal. Remember to always get permission before you go on private property to hunt or retrieve downed game. Livestock grazing often occurs on public and private lands at the same time we hunt. Always leave gates the way you found them. If a gate is closed, close it behind you, no matter how short your stay might be in the area. It only takes a few seconds for livestock to wander through an open gate, and do not block gates with your parked vehicles. In order to protect your privileges to hunt in the future, it's important that you report wildlife violations you see to the Idaho Department of Fish and Game's Citizens Against Poaching, CAP, at 800-632-5999. And you should report trespass and other violations to the appropriate law enforcement agency.